Hello again, it's QWARTZ. Today I'm bringing you the HYDRAmancer, the build I have been playing for the past couple of days on my stream, and I've been trying to squeeze as much more out of it by tweaking the skills bit by bit and improving the gear, obviously. So here it is, the HYDRAmancer build centered around getting as many Hydras as possible, including our 2 minions in that, and if you play with others that have minions, that seems to also affect the build. Not sure if intended or not, but the more minions you can get, the better it is for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build. It's pretty solid. It doesn't, as far as I know, use any bugs and glitches, so buckle up and I hope you enjoyed. Let's go. I will start with the skill trees. It's a Graveborn Spore Warden, as you can see, and I'm using Reaper of Bones. I tried using Dire Sacrifice first, I didn't like it. I switched to Blizzard because there was this modifier, the modifier that increases your companion crit chance and crit damage when Blizzard is up. But then Blizzard is not bad. I mean, you can still use Blizzard even if you don't have that modifier. If you enchantment, I mean, even if you're using something like this one, while action skill is active, increase companion damage by 50% instead of the one that's Spore Warden and specific to Blizzard, and it also only drops on melee weapons. It's up to you whether you want a more fixed duration and cooldown on the action skill. See, duration 16, cooldown 35, obviously this gets modified by gear for duration and for cooldown especially. But this one is a good choice. It gives you extra dark magic damage, it gives you leech efficiency, and if you end up getting killed, there's 3-second invulnerability. And it also heals your maximum HP. But the cooldown is 50 seconds. But the duration, as long as you keep your HP up, can last. So if you're speedrunning, it might be nice, because there's gonna be constant drops of HP bars and stuff. So there is that. Now let's talk about the other skills. Important skills for us are Dark Hydra, Kindred Heart, and Thrill of the Hunt. This is where a lot of the damage comes from. Obviously, Dark Pact is amazing, obviously, because that's dark magic damage, and it boosts the dark magic damage that is ability, spell, and melee, whereas this one only improves spell damage. And even though we cast Hydras from a spell, we don't cast it from a Hydra spell, we cast it from a different spell, and those Hydras only get boosted by minion damage or by elemental damage. So I've put 5 points into Essence Drain, very important. Max out Fateful Throws to 3 points, max out Dark Pact for 5 points, 3 points into Harvest, 3 points into Dark Hydra, and I decided to put 1 point into Dread Covenant because I think it's nice, and 1 point into Ward of Edges. And then I needed to put some more points into the skill tree to unlock this. I'm not a fan of this, I played with it. I'm not a fan of this, I played with it, didn't like it. I don't think this is worth it, but you might want to put 1 point into it if you feel like it. Not that big of a fan of this, but if you want more HP, it's better to just go here. And then there's also dark magic efficiency, so I think 4 points here are the perfect thing to get you all the points needed to put 1 point into Morhaim's Blessing. Now, in here, Kindred Heart is amazing, and Bounty of the Hunt is amazing for us. Medicinal Mushroom, I always like this. If you feel you don't need it, sure, you can save 1 extra point and put it maybe even there, or wherever else you feel like it's needed. Even here is not bad, because this one does ability damage, so ability damage will go well with the Dark Hydra. In fact, this 1 point you can put there if you feel like it. This one I like. If you don't need it, if you don't need the movement speed, remove those points, put them into Affinity if you don't need them. Do not put points into magazine size. Why? Because the bigger your magazine, the faster you run out of ammo. Basically, you shoot, and then whatever's left in your magazine, when you reload to cast a Hydra, gets thrown away. And the bigger that magazine, the quicker you would run out of ammo. because you're wasting the whole magazine when you reload. So don't get magazine size from gear and from quiver of holding. And Thrill of the Hunt is what you need to max out. So you need all those previous things to get to this point. And 5 points here and here are fine, but you need 5 more points. And some people might go 5, 5, 5, excluding those 3 skills, because the main damage doesn't come from you, it comes from the minions, and then just get this. But this is a solid thing, and ideally you would have a mod that gives you 2 points here. And maybe whether it's better to have 2 points here and 1 point here or the other way around, I'm gonna leave it up to you to decide. I personally think it's better 2 points Dark Hydra, 1 point Fateful Throws. More about the armor in the next segment. Regarding stats, attunement I would max out, intelligence I would max out, and the rest I would either put into crit chance or into constitution or into strength, depending on what you need. If you feel like you need more crits, crits. If you feel like you need more HP and ward, okay. If you feel like you need more crit damage, that's fine as well. Keep in mind with the crit chance, this book again, with the crit chance, every crit chance bonus you get gets added to the base. The base is 5%. If you have 10% crit chance, that means 10% of 5%, so it means 0.5. So you need a lot of crit chance in order to get a lot of crit chance. You can't get 50% crit chance and think that you have 50% chance to crit. No, 50% is 2.5 actually, so that's how it works. Keep that in mind. Let's talk items. I will list the enchantments at the end, so now I'll just talk bases. For the pickaxe, I prefer a goblin pickaxe. You can take something like a snake stick, but the snake stick requires you to do melee to get extra Hydra Companion, and that Hydra Companion is for 6 seconds, but you would get extra action skill cooldown. If you feel like putting yourself in danger for the sake of spawning some more minions, then sure, do it. But I think the Goblin Pickaxe is good enough. It gives you movement speed, spell cooldown rate, and action skill cooldown rate, and it stacks 5 times, so it's just great for many caster builds and non-caster builds alike. Liquid Cooling is one of the best weapons, maybe the best weapon in the game. Try to get one that does ×2 damage. ×2 damage like this. That would be what you want. And if you get this enchanted Graveborn, that's actually very nice. When a Graveborn action skill is activated, dark magic damage and dark magic efficiency. Obviously this works if you're using the Graveborn skill, Reaper of Bones, advisably. If you're using Blizzard, which is another option, you can try and enchant your melee weapon to give you the Blizzard synergy. It's up to you. Another good thing is on spellcast increased frost damage or on or dark magic damage, because we're converting our dark magic damage to all the damage to dark magic from this item, from the corrupted plate mail. So frost damage for this or dark damage is fine. We won't use that as much. Most of the time we would be using those guns. So good bases: bric-a-brac with multi-headed Hydra, want not with multi-headed Hydra, fear not with multi-headed Hydra. Those are pistols. I would suggest having a pistol and an SMG of different elements so that you don't run out of ammo quickly. So Knick-Knack is another thing you can consider. It has a pixie, and the pixie pretty much, let me show you what it does. The pixie is a flying enemy, very good against flying enemies, but you can only have 3 of them. Whereas with the multi-headed Hydras and the regular non-multi-headed Hydras, you can have 6. So Knick-Knack, another good base to consider. Whatnot also, Whatnot, not Whatnot, but Whatnot can also give you a good pixie. So there's Whatnot and Whatnot. Keep that in mind. There's Knick-Knack, there's bric-a-brac, there's Heirloom that can give you a regular Hydra, And the pack leader doesn't count as a companion, but it's also another gun that summons something. And the Duodent, an SMG that can give you a multi-headed Hydra with cryo. Actually, that's the only one that I found to be able to do cryo. So if you want to focus more on frost damage, the Duodent is fine. Regarding stats, try to not get magazine size. Try to get as much reload speed as possible for those. For this one, you want crit rate as much as possible and damage and times 2. Ideally fire rate as well. But for those, you want the smallest possible magazine and the fastest possible reload speed. The rest doesn't really matter. Obviously, damage will help some. You need to crit though. You need to do some crits to trigger this. Let's go on to rings. Ideally, you want an ally ring here and here. You want ally rings, ideally chaotic, and if you can get better than chaotic, even better. If you can get some, what was the name? If you can get volatile. If you can get volatile, obviously it's better. It's gonna be 19 point something % instead of 17 or 15. Ideally companion crit hit chance, action skill cooldown, good stats. I'm not sure if it can give you action skill duration, not action skill duration, companion damage, but you can get dark magic efficiency, it's worth it. You can get action skill duration, it's worth it. So I would say companion crit hit chance, action skill cooldown rate, action skill duration, dark magic efficiency are some of the good stats you can get. Regarding other good stats, I'm not sure. Avoid obviously magazine size for the weapons you use. And yeah, I don't think there's anything that great else that I can recommend. Maybe spell cooldown rate if it even rose. Something like that. Companion health. Another good thing you can consider, companion HP. Then for the rune, for the shield, you want a master rune. Ideally with as much capacity as possible, but you need that increased companion damage. Then for the armor, as I mentioned, the corrupted plate mail is one of the good ones. Then you need ghost light, ideally. If you can't find ghost light, go for druid. It's not gonna be that bad. Ideally you want companion damage and all damage dealt. And on top of that, you could get all sorts of things. Gun damage is not bad, even though it doesn't directly boost us. Or you can get companion crit hit chance, or even maximum HP. Or maximum ward, whatever you like. Another thing that is good is the QWO armor. But if you find a QWO with the dark damage instead of this one that has fire, it will be nice. If there is a storm, there is a fire. So if there's lightning and fire, there's gotta be dark maybe somewhere that drops. I haven't been able to see one though. If you can't find a good legendary, try to get maybe a good purple one that boosts the skills you want. And the skills you want to boost, ideally this and this. Sure, this one also helps, but this boosts your damage, not your companion damage. And I was expecting this build to get very strong based on this, but I was surprised that actually the minions are the ones that do the damage. I set out to make a build where this makes me strong and I just focus on the gun damage, but yeah, I kind of found out that's not how this build works. It's actually the companions who do the damage. So I would suggest try and get as much levels in this and this as possible. And if you can find something that boosts other things, such as maybe this one, that's not bad. If you can find something with those 3 as bonuses, that's gonna be great, but probably you won't be able to in purple armor. So what did we not talk about? We didn't talk about the amulet. There are 2 amulets I could recommend. And let me just check which one it is. The joint training and the frenzied rat. The frenzied rat gives you up to 100% companion damage, where the joint training gives you companion crit hit chance and crit hit damage for you. You need to be critting to boost your companions. obviously you want something with dark damage and Graveborn power, and ideally volatile, but chaotic is good enough as well. If you can get dark damage and Graveborn, maybe get whatever your weapons are, fire and poison in my case. Ideally you want dark magic efficiency, gun reload speed, action skill cooldown rate, those are good stats. In theory this one should be better, but strangely enough this one has been giving me better results. Maybe because this is fire damage and I don't use a frost weapon for my summons, I don't know why. But in general, those are the two ones I suggest. Figure out which one works better for you. From my personal experience, contrary to what the theory should say, is that the joint training was giving me better results than the frenzied rat. Even though 80% crit chance is 80% of 5%, so it shouldn't be that much. And yeah, for the spell, you want ideally this Elemental Blast spell. Whirring Elemental Blast spawns a Hydra on impact, and don't get the Hydra spell or the three-headed Hydra spell. Or the jacked Whirring Elemental Blast. See, jacked Whirring Elemental Blast, let me show you the difference. This one I'm using right now. First of all, it has 2 charges. And it has 1, 2, 3 shots. And I can do it 1, 2, 3 again, that's 6 Hydras. Whereas if you were to use this one here, I think it was this one that's bad, it only has... No, that's not the one. That one is the same, but only 1 charge. So the one you don't want is this one. See, this is only 1 type, and so you have to wait for the cooldown, and for a single cooldown you get a single Hydra, and it's just not worth it. Whereas the one that I've got with 2 charges, that's 6 Hydras from this. Ideally you have the lowest possible spell cooldown as you can get. And that's pretty much it for the gear. Now I'll list the enchantments and you'll see them on your screen. But in general, things that give you companion damage as much as possible, things that give you dark damage, things that give you elemental damage, all damage dealt, stuff like that. So yeah, watch at the enchanter stuff, and if something is just not rolling, maybe try to find a new base instead of wasting the materials on a certain item. Regarding mid ranks, you just need to put points in what you need right away. I would say intelligence and attunement are good things to get. Intelligence is here. I think attunement was somewhere here. Where was it? Attunement. Then definitely get the type of damage of your weapons. I would suggest getting dark damage, which I think was here. Dark magic damage will be needed. I would suggest maybe getting a fire damage weapon as well, because I haven't been able to find a weapon like this one or this one that does multi-headed Hydra. More about the gear later, but I haven't been able to find a multi-headed Hydra weapon without poison or fire, with frost or lightning. I've been able to find other Hydras and pixies with lightning, but nope. So I would suggest poison is important, and it's here, and then I would suggest fire, which is here. Where was it? Here. And get whatever else you feel you need. I would suggest not getting magazine size for this build, but the thing is, the game is flawed in the way where it doesn't let us disable things. Right now this magazine size is hurting me. I can't remove the points, I can disable this to not get the effects of it. And this is a lot, 30% magazine size, 30% more ammo wasted when I reload. Get the companion damage, needless to say, and the rest, it's up to you what you feel you need more. Crit damage and stuff like that. Constitution and strength I would definitely suggest getting early in the game. Movement speed I would suggest getting early in the game. Reload speed really helps this build, and fire rate does as well. To get notified when I upload more content like this one or other builds and guides for Wooter and not so Wooter games, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on notifications. As well as keep in mind there's something called memberships on YouTube, which lets you be a paying member for my channel to get access to perks such as emotes and badges made by me, as well as the option to get one-on-one tutoring for the very basics of Adobe Photoshop, Premiere and After Effects. And memberships can be cancelled at any time if you no longer wanna be a member. Thanks for watching all the way until the end, Struck Web. Keep it cool until next time, and goodbye.